Have you ever wondered what happens when the truth is just out of sight? When the official story doesn't quite add up? Today we're diving into some of the most shocking cases where hidden footage completely flipped the script, turning what seemed like an open and shut case into a complex puzzle of justice. These aren't just stories from movies. They're real-life events where a secret recording device, a forgotten security camera, or a bystander's phone became the silent witness that changed everything. Let's start with a case that seems straightforward at first. A routine traffic stop that escalated tragically. The initial reports painted a clear picture, with official statements laying out a sequence of events that seemed to justify the outcome. The community was divided, arguments flared, and it felt like another story destined to be debated without resolution. But then, something unexpected surfaced. A piece of dashcam footage from a nearby vehicle, previously unknown to investigators, was submitted. The moment that footage was played, the entire narrative collapsed. It wasn't just a different angle. It was a different story altogether. The video showed crucial moments that were missing from the official account. It revealed interactions and actions that directly contradicted the initial statements. The tone of the conversation, the body language, the sequence of events, it was all there, captured in grainy but undeniable detail. The public's perception shifted overnight. What was once accepted as fact was now being questioned by everyone. This single piece of hidden footage didn't just add to the evidence, it became the evidence, forcing a complete reevaluation of the case and leading to a pursuit of justice that was previously unimaginable. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the most crucial witness isn't a person, but a lens. Now, let's move from the street to the seemingly quiet and secure setting of a workplace. This next story is about an employee who was fired for alleged gross misconduct. The company claimed he was stealing valuable proprietary information. His career was in ruins, his reputation shattered. He insisted on his innocence, but it was his word against a powerful corporation. The evidence against him seemed circumstantial but strong enough to convince management. He was escorted from the building, his personal effects packed in a box, a scene many of us fear. But this employee had a suspicion that he was being set up. Months before the incident, concerned about a toxic work environment, he had started discreetly recording audio during certain meetings and conversations on his personal device. He had forgotten about most of these recordings until his world came crashing down. Sifting through hours of audio, he found it. Smoking gun. A conversation between two senior managers who, believing they were alone, openly discussed their plan to frame him to cover up their own catastrophic mistake. They talked about planting evidence and creating a false narrative. The audio was crystal clear. When his legal team presented this hidden recording, the company's case evaporated instantly. Not only was he exonerated, but the recording also launched a major internal investigation, exposing a culture of deceit. It's a chilling example of how hidden footage can be a shield for the innocent, a tool to bring dark secrets into the light. Think about the implications. In a world saturated with cameras, on our phones, on our doorbells, on our dashboards, what does this mean for privacy? And what does it mean for justice? There's a constant debate about this. On one hand, the proliferation of cameras can act as a deterrent to wrongdoing and provide irrefutable evidence, as we've just seen. It can hold people in power accountable and give a voice to the voiceless. It creates a record that can't be easily disputed or altered by memory and bias. On the other hand, it raises serious questions about living in a constant state of surveillance. Where is the line drawn? Can this technology be misused? Absolutely. Footage can be taken out of context, edited, or used to manipulate a narrative in the opposite direction. The very tool that can uncover truth can also be used to create deception. This duality is something our society is still grappling with. The laws surrounding recordings vary wildly from place to place, creating a legal minefield for anyone who captures a critical moment. Is it a righteous act of citizen journalism, or an illegal invasion of privacy? The answer often depends entirely on the context and ultimately the outcome. Let's explore another incredible case. This one involves a woman who was repeatedly accused by her neighbor of harassment and creating disturbances. The neighbor would call the police, file complaints, and paint a picture of a nightmare neighbor. The woman was facing fines, potential eviction, and the constant stress of being falsely accused. She knew she was innocent, but how could she prove it? The neighbor was convincing, and the authorities were growing tired of the constant calls. Her solution was simple, yet brilliant. She installed a small, hidden camera, disguised as a garden gnome, pointing towards her own front door and the shared walkway. She just let it record. For weeks, nothing happened. But then, the neighbor began her campaign again. The footage was astounding. It showed the neighbor deliberately making loud noises near the woman's apartment, and immediately calling the police to complain about the noise she herself had made. It captured her staging fake falls on the walkway and then screaming as if in pain. The hidden gnome cam saw everything. When this footage was presented to the authorities, all the complaints against the woman were dropped, and the neighbor was instead charged with filing false reports.
Ow.
A simple garden gnome became the guardian of one woman's peace and sanity. These stories aren't just about crime and justice. They're about the power of perspective. A single, unseen angle can rewrite history. It can save an innocent person or expose a guilty one. It forces us to question what we retold and to consider that there might be more to the story than meets the eye. The rise of hidden footage has created a new dynamic in our legal system and in the court of public opinion. It's a check and balance on power, powered by ordinary citizens. However, it's also important to remember the responsibility that comes with this power. Capturing footage is one thing. How it's used and interpreted is another. The context is everything. A 10-second clip on social media can ignite a firestorm, but it might not represent the full reality of a 10-minute interaction. As consumers of this content, we also have a responsibility to think critically, to ask questions, and to seek the full story before rushing to judgment. The camera can be an objective eye, but the narrative built around its footage is often very, very human. As we continue to navigate this new landscape, one thing is certain: the silent witness is here to stay. That hidden lens, that forgotten recording, will continue to play a pivotal role in shaping our understanding of truth and our pursuit of justice. The stories we've discussed today are just a few examples of its incredible impact. They show us that sometimes the most powerful voice in the room isn't a voice at all. It's the silent, steady gaze of a camera that was there when no one else was looking. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think the rise of hidden cameras is a net positive for society, or a dangerous slide into a surveillance state? Let me know in the comments below. I read all of them, and I'm really curious to hear your perspective on this complex topic. Thanks so much for watching today. If you found these stories as fascinating as I did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into incredible real-life events. We'll see you in the next video.